Hey guys, so in this video we are going to talk a little bit about Polymer, so let's get into it. Now, this is the second time I talk a bit about Polymer, but today I think I have something a little bit different, a little bit of a different perspective on things. You see, it is in fairly recent time where I've started taking more and more interest into Polymer. And the reason why I'm taking an interest into this is because it's not that long ago that Polymer 3.0 was released. And I have some thoughts on how things are moving right now. And it ties into this gut feeling I have of what's coming next. And it also kind of ties into a few other videos that I've made about different frameworks such as Elm and so forth. You see, I am a firm believer that the web platform is maturing to the point where very soon you will see the same thing happen to Elm, Vue, Angular, React and so forth. I think that we are getting to a point where it will go the same way as jQuery. jQuery is today all but pointless. The only reason, as from my perspective, to use jQuery these days is if you have like a requirement to support extremely old browsers. Apart from that, there's no reason for you to add it to your stack anymore. So what does this have to do with Polymer? Why would Polymer be a different thing from, say, React or Angular? How could that be? Well, I'm glad you asked. You see, Polymer has the goal of, or rather, it has its own life expectancy, which I think is an interesting thing. The goal of Polymer is not to provide you with necessarily the best solution for your SBA needs, or the best, all of these other frameworks like Angular and React, for example, they have this holistic type of mindset where they have an approach to software development that they are trying to not sell you on, but they have their own approach to solving a problem. It's like if you go into React, that's an ecosystem, well, not necessarily an ecosystem, but you do things in a certain way in React, and you do things in a certain way in Angular, Vue, etc. That's not what Polymer is about, not from my perspective. Polymer is trying to be ahead of the curve. I actually watched a tech talk which explained it in the best way that I personally think it's the best way. I really do. So the tech talk, the red thread through the whole tech talk was basically that Polymer tries to see where the web is heading and provide you the polyfills that you need today, so that one day when the standard is finally caught up, you can simply just remove that source tag link or the JavaScript that you're using, or Polymer basically, and it will just work with the native standard. This is why I think Polymer is different, and it's why I'm so interested in it. I'm not saying that you should use it, not just yet. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. Don't go out now and start migrating everything to Polymer. Don't do that, not just yet. Pay attention. So, if you think about that, none of the other frameworks have so overtly said that they are a temporary thing. React isn't saying that they're trying to, basically be around for as long as they need to until the standard catches up, and then they will be shuffled out into non-existence. Polymer is the only framework that does this, and it's also the only framework that doesn't try to do its own thing. It's simply trying as best as it can to wrap the native APIs in a standard that will one day become native. Do you see, like, React is not trying to help you get closer to the native APIs in the browsers. They're trying to do it React way. Same thing with Angular and Vue. They're not trying to do these things, but Polymer is. And some very serious companies are starting to move over to Polymer, and I think that this is a good thing. I honestly do. I really, really, really do. And I think that, I mean, I've been on the bandwagon with Angular, I've been on the bandwagon with React, but Polymer feels a little bit different. And now my old colleague Mark is laughing at me, Fredrik, there's always another framework. And yeah, I know, Mark, there's always a new framework. And I've said this before, but can we just step back and think a little bit about the difference between Polymer and these other frameworks? As I said, Polymer isn't trying to be a permanent solution. It's trying to give you a bridge that will stay there for as long as it takes for the standard to catch up. Because once the standard is caught up, this is what I've said before, then there will be no reason, or very little reason at least, to keep around any of these other frameworks. And to me, that is I think that's a great it's a great motivation. I think it's a great thought. I love absolutely everything about it. I'm not saying that I love everything about Polymer. I'm saying I love everything about the idea that we try to create something that will help us be consistent until the standard catches up. If you think about jQuery, how close is the native standards of JavaScript in the browser today? How close are they to the jQuery implementations? It's not like a perfect match, but it's pretty damn close. I argue that jQuery and other such tools have influenced the standards developers so that we actually have something that feels fairly similar. And that's exactly, to me, it feels to me as that's what Polymer is trying to do. They're trying to take it one step further. They're trying to just wrap and polyfill everything until the standard is caught up, because standards take time, guys. It takes a lot longer to create a standard that works for absolutely every use case for everybody than it takes for an independent developer or developers to create a library or a framework. And that's why I think that we will always have framework developers, and we should, because these are the people who drive new ideas, new innovations. But I still think that we have to be clever about this. I think that we are all, at least I am, and I know a lot of companies and some other developers are getting very tired at this idea that you have to migrate things over and over and over. And honestly, I think that the best thing for us all is to have a standard that we can all agree on. I mean, we've done it for everything else. Well, not everything, but a lot of things. So why am I saying that Polymer seems to be the future, or at least something that will be with us until the future arrives? But at the same time, I'm saying that you shouldn't migrate. I'm glad you asked. You see, Polymer 2.0 was released last year, I think. And it was really only a month until 3.0 was released with breaking changes. That's not good. That's not good at all. And this is not the Polymer team's fault, because what they're trying to do is quite literally one of the hardest things I can imagine. They're not just trying, because think about it, if you make your own thing, if you only care about making your own framework, your own library, you have a certain amount of freedom. You can go down one route, and if something changes, odds are that you can still keep on going down your route. But the Polymer team is trying to fit their solution on top of the standards, which means that they are not necessarily, they have to cater to the changes in the web. And a lot of stuff has changed in the past year. A lot of stuff has changed. And if you're going to be one of those organizations or one of those frameworks that foresees what's going to come up next and make sure that your solution can cater to what's coming up, that's a really tricky position to be in. So I am very excited about Polymer, but I don't think making a migration today is the right move. I think we need to give them some time. I don't think they need much time, because they are, I mean, it's Google. They have the best engineers in the world, some of the best engineers in the world. I am 100% confident that they can solve this. And I really want this to be a good solution. Because you can trust me. The day I feel that that Polymer is as roughly as stable, and I can trust it as something like, say, React or Angular, then I will be on the Polymer bandwagon. Trust me, I will be there. And you shouldn't be surprised if you start seeing me making some tutorial videos about Polymer, but not yet. But I think soon. Have a great day.